Hello, this is Derek as well, Chief Investment Officer for Shelton Capital Management with a Shelton Capital CIO Minute. It's been nearly 3 weeks since the start of the banking crisis. And for us as investors, we're left with a couple of questions. Will this crisis spread to other parts of the financial system? How will it affect the economy? And are there signals in the marketplace that can give us some indication of where we're going? Now, looking at equity markets, the S&P 500 has retraced more than half of the losses it suffered at the beginning of the banking crisis. But looking at other parts of the market, we see somewhat of a different story. Small cap stocks have not retraced any of their losses and have remained near the lows that they've suffered since the crisis began. And in addition, banking stocks have seen a similar pattern, still at those low levels that they established right after this started. We're seeing similar data in credit markets as well. While investment grade credits have come back in after widening after the crisis started, high yield credit has not retraced any of its losses and remains at some of the widest levels in the past 3 weeks. And finally, we're also seeing the same sort of thing in volatility markets, which are often a good signal of how much uncertainty and what people are considering. Small cap volatility remains at the highs that it set 3 weeks ago, while the VIX, which measures large cap, is back to its pre-Silicon Valley Bank levels. What bears watching going forward is what's called the MOVE Index, a measure of interest rate volatility that we've referred to many times on this segment. The banking crisis interrupted a long downtrend in the MOVE that was anticipating the end of the Fed hiking cycle. The measure then spiked after SVB's failure and now remains near pandemic highs, reflecting a great deal of uncertainty of where and how rates may change going forward. The index bears watching. A decline in interest rate uncertainty, more certainty as to how and where rates might behave would go a long way in signaling to the markets that contagion from the banking crisis is under control. For further information, please contact your local Shelton Capital representative. This has been a Shelton Capital CIO Minute.